Hello, Queens. Welcome to this week's edition of Jungle Juice. We've got a new theme this month. Rest. It's not easy. I hear that word and I think, wow. Can I rest? Is it okay? Am I going to get in trouble? Have I earned it? Have I done enough? What if I never get back up? Or, I don't know about you, when I start to rest, I can get anxious sometimes. I actually can't rest. Right? The idea of actually sitting down in the middle of the day still triggers anxiety for me, which is something we're going to talk about this week and this month. Relaxation-induced anxiety is actually real. Yeah, it's actually listed in the Diagnostic and Statistics Manual. It's something that people struggle with. Boy, I wish I would have known when I was young. I tried to meditate in my early 20s, and I remember the first time I did, I got up and left the room. I was having a panic attack. It was really hard for me. And there's a reason for that, right? Sometimes those of us, and I know so many of you fall into this category, those of us who've had a lot of trauma or trauma at all, run anxious in general, maybe are going through a lot of stress, or are just conditioned by the culture, right? We get anxious when we sit still, because that's when all the feelings come up, the stuff that we've been trying to keep ahead of, get away from, not feel. It's not conscious necessarily, and it's a vicious cycle. So we want to invite you this month to see if you can give yourself the gift of rest. And you can look at that a whole bunch of ways, like restore, relax, resilience, filling the gas tank back up. And you get to do it how you need to do it, right? You get to sit or be in your moving meditation or however you listen and really pay attention to your relationship with rest right now. Look, we all know it's critical, right? We just can't have the foot on the gas all the time. It makes us sick, imbalanced, and beyond, as we've talked about, to the extreme of anxiety. There's all kinds of research that shows how important it is to rest. And, let's throw burnout in there, right? All kinds of things can happen when we don't stop. So, this is your invitation to even look back at this last year and all you've accomplished, all you've been through, everything you've done. And maybe you can devote part of the month of December to you resting, finding your reset. It's another word for you. And see if you can have some fun. This month we're going to give you some ideas about how to do that, some breathing techniques, some other fun tips and tricks to help. But first we want to invite you just to notice, what's your relationship like with rest right now? I'm going to tell you an embarrassing story, but a true one. About, a decade ago, I was sitting in a chair and it had a headrest, and I put my head back. And it occurred to me, I literally couldn't remember putting my head back against a headrest in my adult life for the sake of resting in the day. Yeah, maybe at night, but it was really something I didn't know what to do with that information, but certainly it became a theme. So I'm wondering, this is the invitation for you. I'm wondering about, what's your relationship with rest? What did your family tell you about rest? What are your beliefs about rest? And what do you know to be true about rest? And most important, what do you need right now in the way of rest? We want to support you in resting, letting those muscles settle. And so here's one last thing. Shavasana translated, the Sanskrit term actually means corpse pose. Yeah, corpse pose. Wow, right? Lay down and in the death position. Might be intimidating, but in their practice, in the Vedic culture, in the Indian world, people who practice yoga, maybe you know, we must prepare. We must prepare before we sit and listen, which is our path. How can I hear myself if I'm constantly moving, if energy's just running through me all the time? I can't hear anything. So maybe a treat you can start with is just giving yourself a little bit of Shavasana. We'll start with that this week. And we're going to attach an article for you about relaxation-induced anxiety. And we're going to keep it coming. We want to hear from you. Meanwhile, I'm going to sit with Buddha and on my little mat. And I'm going to rest because I just rode really hard and had a full day. And now I'm going to practice. I'm going to walk my talk. Yeah. Love to you. See you next time.